Welcome everybody to Florida Legacy Club. Tonight we'll be doing commentary on last week's Legacy FNM at PCB Hobby. And with me tonight I've got Nick and Austin. Welcome guys.
How's it going?
Hello.
Jason, I don't. Oh, there you are. Okay, you are streaming. Never mind, we're
All
good.
right, cool. Yeah, I was like making sure the stream was live as well.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead, Nick. Tell us who we got playing here. Tell us a little bit about this matchup.
yeah. So on the left, we got Ryan playing lands. As you can see, he's humorously put out Barrett Lage as his commander, as I am playing Fruit Loops, which is basically Cephalid Breakfast, an 80 card version of Cephalid Breakfast that jams in Nadu, Winged Wisdom, and Yorion is revealed as my companion. So looks to start off the game. We got a Windswept Heath fetch for a Savannah.
Let's see. 1 second, sorry guys. I gotta post to my socials that I'm commentating for the Florida Legacy Club. All right, let's see. Starting off with the Urza, or I guess not starting off. Well, we've played an Urza Saga, and it seems we have possibly taken it back.
Yeah, I think that was not another land drop that they could have at that point. So you can see there's a Mox Diamond being played, putting a shifting, what's it called, shifting woodland, something like that. It's a new card, really strong for lands.
Yeah, it's very strong for lands, very strong for a lot of the decks in multiple formats. Just the idea of being able to throw any become a copy of basically any creature in the yard or any land in the yard. I think. Let me pull up the exact card. Let's see.
Yeah, as Delirium, pay 4 mana, 2 green, 2 colorless to become a copy of any permanent in your graveyard until end of turn. So one of the ways that I've seen it even being used is to copy Omniscience after it gets thought seized from your hand.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Modern Horizons 3 showing its true potential in these decks. The Island Ponder. Classic Nick move, starting off with the Island and the Ponder.
The
Beta
best
Island,
play
by
in
the way.
Magic the Gathering, prove me wrong.
See, Urza Saga on 1. Get in there for 1 whole damage with the Haywire Might. And here we start off with the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yep. So sort of the tutorage in this deck that'll go ahead and get swords while the trigger is on the stack.
And we've
Picking
got,
up Shuko.
I like the grab.
Going for the combo piece. Interesting timing on that swords. I think typically you want your opponent to search for their card first, just so maybe the breakfast player goes for a Cauldron plan, and you're able to kill the Stoneforge without them even being able to deploy Cauldron. Um, but decides to kill it while the trigger's on the stack, and now we'll see a Birds of Paradise get cast,
With a Shuko behind it.
followed by a Shuko and an Equip.
The bird's got bear claws on.
Wrong bird, but still got Bear Claws.
It still got bear claws.
Construct being made in my end step.
Looks like Ryan's picked up a copy of Soul Guide Lantern to hand. Makes another construct. I was actually was talking with Ryan the other day. I think he's going towards more of a punishing fire list with all of our birds running around currently.
Yeah, potentially better into the Nadu metagame here. Uh, Being able to Pyroblast Nadu on the stack, for example.
Yeah.
Bird Summer.
Bird Summer,
Bird,
baby.
Nadu, Summer.
Let the bird fly.
We are swinging in there for 5. Holding up Pithing Needle, not sure what it has named.
Pithing Needle is named Shuko here.
Fair enough. Ends with a Caracas. That's Caracas. Can't tell with all these different secret layers anymore.
Yeah. So starting off the Shuko combo, pretty powerful. Deploy an Urza Saga of my own, followed by a Nadu. So, that's 4 immediate card draws that Pithing Needle is turning off.
But look at the boy. He's got his beak, and he's being targeted by the
The
Caracas to be
Caracas
bounced to him.
bounces him. Nadu trigger reveals a step through.
Let's get that card on the stream. I got it. Step. Turn 2 target creatures on his hand. Wizard cycling.
Wizard Cycling's the only important line of text on that card.
That is very nice. Very nice tech.
Ends up being an extra tutor for Cephalid Illusionist. In this deck, I can also search for Nadu Winged Wisdom.
As they would say on 90s MTG, did they test wizard cycling for 1v1 formats?
Exactly. I don't think they did. That's all I'll say.
Looks like we're going back to turn.
Swords on one of the constructs. One of them will get in for the beats.
Island Ponder. I do really like how a lot of our player base has kind of gone to this card on the table as it's resolving until the card has resolved to notify the opponents of spells resolving.
Yeah, I agree. Just sort of showing where things are on the stack is important. We'll see a brainstorm as well. So trying to move some cards around, find an answer to the onboard stacks pieces. As you can see, there's also a Soul Guide Lantern. That card, super powerful, shutting down the Cephalid combo.
We do like the fetch land here to shuffle away those bad brainstorm cards. I know as an avid Delver player, your ponder brainstorm is important depending on if you have a fetch. Sometimes you do it one way, sometimes you do it the other. You're deep in the tank here.
Yeah, thinking about, not entirely sure what, but how to execute a combo, how to remove some of the hate that's on board, how to not die to constructs, all of the above.
So, Nick, tell us a little bit about what Nadu gave the breakfast deck here.
Yeah, so Breakfast was already a deck that was playing Shuko and Nomads in core. This is actually where Shuko saw play before Modern has adopted it because of Nadu, and so Nadu is a really easy fit into this deck since you're already playing the effects that turn Shuko on. Or sorry, or you already are using Shuko and Nomads as enablers for your combo. So it became really easy to add an additional way to do that. But the bird is super powerful. I mean, it's a big body. It draws cards without actually drawing cards, so gets around Bowmaster. Looks like we're going to see a cycle for a Cephalid. So now the Nomads in core plus Cephalid is online. However, the graveyard is still shut down due to Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah, Ryan doing a good job holding you at bay with these various hate pieces.
Yep.
I think the
Just
lands.
needs. I was gonna say, just needs to finish applying the pressure to finish the job here.
I think the lands meta here is getting to a good point, starting to pick up these good, nice hate pieces for decks in the meta. Strong interaction.
Yeah, really, the only interaction that lands has for these kind of decks are cards like Soul Guide Lantern and Pithing Needle, right? It's not a deck that has a lot of strong interaction against a blue combo deck like this.
All these tactical lands getting in there. Looks like we've got the bird coming in. Caw-caw.
There he is.
There's the bird. We'll see a couple Nadu triggers now.
So walk us through what you're doing here, Nick. You're targeting Nadu with what?
With Nomads in Core. So Nomads in Core is going to target all three of my creatures. Nomad can target itself. So seeing 3 lands get put into play and 3 cards go to hand. So
Hey, welcome, High Star. You're just in time for bird things.
just bird things, baby.
Just bird paradise. We got 2 birds on the field.
So land's getting a chance to untap.
Pretty big here now that we're going to search for, it looks like another card with the Urza Saga. Possibly, in this situation, maybe a Shadow Spear, Lava Spur Boots.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what they could get. Lava Spur Boots would apply a lot of pressure. That would make a lot of sense. I don't know if there's another Pithing Needle.
I don't know if, I think, oh, Crop Rot in response to the Urza Saga Sacrifice trigger.
Yeah, so this is cool tech that the Nadu player, or rather the lands players have had access to for a while, is being able to sort of get a land for free.
Problem is with most of this right now is the lands player is now tapped out, but there are 3 6/6 constructs on the field. Pretty scary. Versus a bird and a pile of nomads.
I mean, the bird does have a big beak, but I don't think it's big enough to stop those 3 big robots.
And they're about to start swinging in.
Yeah,
Shadow Spear is the
Shadow
is the draw
Spear.
or is the grab here for the Urza Saga search.
Yep.
Lifelink. It's not the most relevant text right now on the card. I think the word keyword trample. I'm pretty sure that Shadow Spear has. Let's see.
Yeah, Trample is definitely the more important line of text on that card right now.
I've broken the card bot.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little slow.
Yeah, it's fine. It's probably gonna look up Shadow Spear and then Death Shadow because I just type Shadow. Wondering what the land player will grab here. Tabernacle probably won't do it. Too many lands on the opponent's side of the field. Looks like it's just another Urza Saga. Pretty good value here.
Yep.
We have an untapped construct. It seems like we have not been to combat yet.
Okay, I think we were still resolving
Oh,
Urza's Saga. Cool.
we were attempting to move to combat. Looks like Nick is windmill slamming
Double swords to plowshares.
double
That's
swords to plowshares.
a lot of swords to plowshares.
I think we're looking at a total of 4 copies have already been played.
I think you were right. I think we saw all 4 swords to plowshares this game, which, I mean, triple Saga hand, pretty good, so.
What's Shadow Spear's equip cost? Is it 1?
Ooh.
2. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Ryan had access to a Swiftfoot boots, but potentially getting in for that extra swing, forcing a block on nomads could have been massive. Um, but I'm not really sure what the deck construction looks like.
Yeah, with these lands lists, they have so many different variations we could be on. Oh, that is the 4th copy of Swords. I am sorry. There we've seen 3 copies, but that is the 4th copy of Swords popping up right there.
Yep.
Opponent feasibly looking as if we might be having 5 copies of Swords in the opponent's deck.
Yeah, we need a deck check.
We're gonna have to deck check next time.
Caracas is tapped down, so using this opportunity to go wild with the Nadu. Binning a Force Will there, so obviously in a really confident position. Um, lot of lands in play, a lot of cards in hand, though. Just trying to find a way to finish this game. It seems like, um, especially with that 4th sword in hand. I'm not entirely sure how lands can come back from this. Looks like we'll see a brainstorm get cast.
I think using the only problem we've got for the breakfast player now is hold that the Shadow Spear and the Soul Guide Lantern being held up. But they do have a 1/1 bird. The breakfast player does have the 1/1 bird. Not sure if that's if that's one of the funny joke foils that we have being played on the field now.
Um,
Does look like it. Does look like that tropical island is full.
oh yeah, the tropical island is full. This is true.
This
I
is our
think
local legacy FNM, which is full proxy. So it's a good way to test different decks, invite new players who might not might not be fully invested in legacy. So we have a good time at these events.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think allowing these players to play with whatever cards they want, test new archetypes, and still allow our full monthlies, allow them to gear up for our full monthlies, which are RL proxy. I think allowing that to, like I said, allowing them to test new archetypes, figure out new test cards, especially with MH3 coming into play now, we have a lot of new testing that can be done. Gives them a lot of opportunity.
Yep. And here we'll see Nadu getting cast to refresh the Nadu. So this refreshes all of the Nadu triggers. So a couple more lands getting put into play.
There's a saga looks like. Do have a question on what the card underneath the step through is.
Yeah, so that is a what's it called? It's called pre-war
Pre-war.
formal wear.
Let me read this card. Let's see. So when pre-war formalware enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach pre-war formalware to it. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Can return a bird and reset the bird again.
It can return a bird. It can return nomads. There's a lot that card can do.
Seems pretty good. I have a good feeling that the the Cephalid player could try to attempt to bait it out, playing this Pure War Form Aware.
And this is one of the few times, not one of the few, but one of the times where having an 80 card deck is actually serving to the bird player's disadvantage here, trying to draw through the entire 80 card deck in response to some main deck graveyard hate. Potentially those extra 20 cards could prevent that from happening. So seeing some more dardling here than would otherwise be necessary.
I think, Nick, we talked about that's one of the feels bad of Nadu, right? Is it's such a prolonged turn cycle.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's one of those things where it's not as, I think, egregious as a lot of other combo decks that exist out there or that have existed out there. Modern Cart Clan comes to mind, but it's one of those things of you just inevitably get buried in card advantage where it doesn't really end up mattering if they kill you or not. You're still functionally dead.
Yeah.
Looks like you're getting a loam here from the lands player. The loam has resolved prior to picking targets. Only thing really that's a good note to have, I feel like. Card does target before resolution.
Yeah, it's a good point. That is definitely relevant. You want to let the player name their targets as they cast the spell, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, just mostly, yeah, you want to be able to get as much value out of countering that life from the loam as you can.
Well, it's also one of those things of their targets can give you information about what's in their hand, right? So if, for example, your opponent happens to have a Dark Depths and a Thespian stage, and they only target Dark Depths, well, that probably means they have a Thespian stage in hand. So you want to take those, just want to get into the habit of taking those little bits of advantage that you can. See the Birds of Paradise being a sacrificial block here.
Like at the end step, we are flashing in a step through. Don't know if we're wizard cycling or if we are.
Looks like it's a wizard cycle for a
It
step
looks like,
through.
yeah. Revealing Thassa's Oracle.
There we go. So that's a way to circumvent the graveyard hate of just casting Thassa's Oracle from hand.
Looks like we are currently about to untap with a Thassa's Oracle plus. Currently, there are no there were okay. Cephalid Illusionist is on the field. We do have a confirmed. I would wait. Can we back that up real quick? I think our breakfast player has tapped blue white for their Thassa's Oracle.
Judge.
You might be right. You might be right.
I have noticed that our blue white our
It doesn't matter too much here, but you are correct. That is
yes, we
an
have
incorrect tap.
yes, we have incorrectly you have incorrectly misrepresented board state.
We will retroactively award this victory to Ryan.
Sounds good. I accept my defeat.
I will contact Watsy.
Yeah, we've got the Cephalid player does have the mana. I have no problem noticing this, but
So, Nick, walk us through this win con here for some of our viewers that might not be familiar with Thassa's Oracle.
Yes. Well, so the win condition is Thassa's Oracle states when it enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. You can put up to one of those cards onto the top of your library and the rest on the bottom. and or if you have no card, or if you have less cards in your library than your devotion, or I believe it's devotion, I believe it's less than or equal to your devotion to blue, then you win the game. So this has been a classic MTG combo for a while now of somehow get rid of your library and put a Thassa's Oracle into play. What Cephalid Breakfast does is it uses a card called Cephalid Illusionist, which states whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability, you mill 3 cards. You combine that with a 0 cost activated ability, such as Nomad's Encore or Shuko, to infinitely mill yourself. So this is sort of the difference uh, between Nadu. I guess this is sort of the more broken version of Nadu, if you can think about that, of not having a limiter per turn.
All right, again, this was our Legacy FNM at PCB Hobby here in Panama City Beach, Florida. We do these every other Friday, and then once a month we also have Legacy monthly tournaments. For our Legacy FNMs, it is full proxy, so we invite everybody to come out and join us. We also have plenty of loaner decks. And then for our monthlies, we allow proxy for reserve list. For those watching on YouTube, check out the link in our video description. That'll take you to our link tree where we have Twitch channel, Twitter, Moxfield, all that good stuff. Austin, what do you think about the sideboard plan here?
I think big thing for the lands deck, we're gonna try and bring in a bit more graveyard hate. It feels like maybe some of the it seems like they're on a green white package, so maybe some endurance, more ways to remove the um, the cephalids. So possibly, if they have more swords in the sideboard, I did get a quick flash. It looks like from the above camera angle that looks like the Lance player is bringing in the new MH3 card Disruptor Flute. Very strong here in this
Yep.
matchup. Just just the ability of being able to name any card, and your opponent has to pay 3 to either play it and or activate abilities from it. Very strong in this matchup. I will pass it on over to Nick for a minute while let him talk a
Well,
little bit about his breakfast sideboard plan.
it's pay 3 more mana to activate, or sorry, pay 3 more mana to cast, and you cannot activate it no matter what.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad. My bad.
So potentially a really great card is for the more stacksy decks that exist out there. I know that from my perspective, I'll be bringing in some what are they called? The pick your poisons, ways to get rid of a 2020 elemental as well as some of the artifact stacks pieces. And in addition to, I think, some graveyard hate of my own, just respecting the fact that uh, cards like Light from the Loam exist.
As we go into game 2, we'll be right back before we get back into it.
We see the fun of shuffling an 80 card deck.
Also, quick shout out, we did hit our 100 follower goal. We've had a few new followers the last few days, so we're excited about that. And we're going to have some Florida Legacy Club playmats coming in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that as well if anybody's interested.
So players deciding on their initial mulligans.
Looks like I've come back. Perfect timing. Getting right into round 2. Starts off with a windswept teeth into a Savannah.
Followed by a Haywire Mite and a Mox Diamond pitching Dark Depths. So very similar start to last time.
Were we talking about pick your poison while I was gone?
We were, yes. Oh, there we do see the boots. So those are in the deck.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are very strong, especially whenever you equip them to a Marilage.
Exactly. I think that's also a big pickup for lands. Just the ability to create a Marilage. And then we see Shifting Woodlands again. So I believe Delirium's one card off right now, so actually quite close to being able to make a Merit Lage since Shifting Woodlands copies Dark Depths but doesn't have the ETB trigger, so it will immediately create the 2020.
And it looks like we've got a value Thoracle coming out. He is scrying on top. I guess not scry. Put one card on top, the rest to the bottom in any order.
Thassa's Oracle getting in there.
All right, it's getting the job done. 2 damage, baby.
Then boots are made for walking.
Now we see these boots are made for more than just walking. And we'll see his swords in response to the equip.
Hey, Basket, welcome. Shout out to our Legacy friends in Texas.
Yep, yeah.
Make sure you check out their channel, Boardwalk Legacy. Be seeing you guys next month for the Oklahoma Land Run. Looking forward to that.
That's exciting. We all should have a lot of fun at that. There's the bird of the hour.
The bird has fallen.
So, seeing some activations off of Shuko. There's a Nomad. And a fetch land.
Seems like we are getting this clock turned on quick.
Yep, a lot of value coming out right now.
Is that a Savannah?
That's a Savannah, yes.
I like to point out my. Look, it happens. This is
Known green slanderer Nick now playing
What do you mean?
all the green cards.
There is exactly one card that has made green playable in Magic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Make green great again.
Nadu has made green great again.
I'm pointing out the fact that we have We have fetched a Savannah with a Scalding Tarn.
Oh my
no!
God.
That's the
Wow.
second GRV. Nick's now disqualified.
It's over. I have not been doing well this game. All right. There was another there's another drop of the deck, but you are correct. That is not how Scalding Tarn works.
We owe Ryan a major apology.
Yeah, geez.
Oh, baby. I'm messing up left and right.
Clip it. Somebody clip it. He fetched the Scalding Tarn. He fetched Savannah with Scalding Tarn.
We will have to report this to Watsy, Nick. I'm sorry.
Baby.
Figure Poison did come in. The actual tech. Card is busted, I think, in all formats as of current.
You know, funny you mentioned that. I was slandering it, but it wrecked me today in Vintage. I had somebody actually play it against me in Vintage as well. I had to sacrifice my Atraxa.
Vintage All-Star. Pick your poison.
Vintage All-Star confirmed. You heard it here, folks.
1 mana modal cards.
They're going to have to ban Pick Your Poison, actually, in all formats.
Emergency ban, pick your poison.
Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, we are at PCB Hobby in Panama City, Florida.
Hey, welcome, Lord. Thanks for hanging out.
Looks like we are getting in there for 4.
5 is not 20.
Do the boots only give walk-in, or do they give any bonuses?
The boots. They give +1, +0, and haste and ward 1. So they do a lot.
They do a lot for 1 mana.
Night's Watch, this is our Legacy FNM. We do this every other Friday, and then once a month we do a Legacy monthly tournament. The Legacy FNM, which we're watching tonight, is full proxy allowed, and then our monthlies we allow reserve list proxy.
Some of our players have gotten fancy with their reserve list proxies. You can see sometimes on stream. Know that I know if you ever see me on stream, sometimes you'll see me playing Teamer Delver with foil, Trops, and Volcanics. White border foiling process, by the way, is very nice for no good reason.
Yeah, that's awesome, Night's Watch. We rotate. We also we rotate between Arena Comics for our monthlies. So we do host them at Arena, and then we also host at Point Break Arcade, which is a really cool venue.
Yep, it is. It's an arcade as well, so lots of games to be played outside of Magic.
Currently, I think the Street Fighter. Well, I guess nobody else has played me in Street Fighter, so it doesn't count. But I'm pretty good at Street Fighter.
Why bother? You would just crush us.
Look. Not trying to humble brag here.
So, speaking of the game, what we're seeing right now is in hand there is the one of Dread Return, the one of Cabal Therapy, and the Thassa, or rather the Thassa's Oracle is in play. So what I'm actually looking for is the black mana to cast the front side of Cabal Therapy to then flash it back, sacrificing Thassa's Oracle to put it in the graveyard.
I see, because the Thoracle is on the battlefield. You need its ETB trigger again, so you're trying to find a way to do that.
Yep. So the Cabal Therapy targeting myself, putting Dread Return into the graveyard, and then flashing it back, sacrificing the Thassa's Oracle. So this gets all the pieces where they need to be, and lets me execute the mill aspect of the combo.
I am curious, Nick. What card did you name with Cabal Therapy?
Targeting my opponent. Against lands, typically I'm going to name either Crop Rotation, Endurance, Sometimes surgical extraction, sometimes um, um, Barry Macabre. I believe in this instance I did name or I did name crop rotation, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right,
Second
so
cast.
it looks like you win with the Thassa's Oracle here. Shout out to Ryan. He's been doing a great job with that lands deck, getting it dialed in. But Nick does take game one. Let's get set up for game two.
Can't wait for Nick to name. What was it? And what was the one of those cards? It's like I've already won or something like that.
Oh yeah, you are already dead.
There you go. That's the card. I would have named that the second time. I don't know.
And Abandoned Hope, I believe, is the
Abandoned
original
Hope. Yeah.
classic.
See, we did next up. It looks like we have Jason on 4-color Beanstalk in the mirror match. Oh, I guess it's not. Oh, it's not mirrored anymore. All right, it's now the. It's now the Beans versus Urian deck. I don't know. Don't know if I could ever register a deck list with 80 cards.
You're not living. Let's see if I'm able to fetch the correct land this time.
Let's hope. Okay, Tropical Island is fetchable with Flooded Strand. I would like to point that out.
All right, we did it, boys. We're improving.
We have not bolted the bird yet. We have swords the bird.
Classic legacy play right there. Swords the bird.
Jason not representing any companions as of current. Oh, untap. Flashy untap, it looks like. All right, and then we got the Shuko coming down.
And a meticulous archive getting some selection.
Does look like the Tropical Island was been playing um no Beanstalk down on the second turn is what I was trying to say for the 4-color control player.
This is correct. So obviously a card that they really would have liked to see, but Shuko does threaten the win on my turn, so potentially respecting that.
Looks like Stoneforge is now on the battlefield. We're going to brainstorm in response, I think, to the cast of Stoneforge.
Yeah, looking for some potential interaction to that.
So as a four-color Beanstalk main, it remains to be seen, but it does seem like Nadu will supplant Beanstalk as the preeminent value deck. We'll see which version ends up being best of Nadu. Seems like Breakfast is the strongest right now. What do you think, Nick?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I haven't been following the day-to-day meta shifts as they may or may not be. I do think that Breakfast is really powerful right now. Honestly, I think we might be entering into a region of Legacy in which the top decks of the meta will probably be Scam, or probably continue to be Scam rather. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw two Nadu decks on top. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Breakfast and sort of the more um, Stoneforge Bant control mid-range version.
Yeah, I know that we as a group have been testing pretty heavily on these Nadu decks, and I think we're supplanting ourselves as either kind of a split between the more control variant with Stoneforge combo or Stoneforge Mystic, Cauldron Complete, Cryptic Coat, more of a Bant Blade, or we're more of a Bant Tempo list. I think we've kind of gotten those aspects, and we're also as well on the cephalid plan.
Yeah.
The one big pickup I do think we get from, or not we get from the newest Modern Horizons 3 set. I know Nick is also an enjoyer of Stifled. I'm very big on the Cardinal Drifter. I think it is actually a pickup for 4-color beans.
That's a okay. You tried, buddy.
We
Very
tried.
hot
We
take.
tried.
The
Very
hot
hot
takes.
take.
It's
All
the
right, so it
draw
looks
20
like
cards.
I resolved the Triumph of St. Catherine here, but again, kind of seeing the mid-range control versus the combo power. It looks like, Nick, you're resolving a combo win here, most likely.
Yeah, it looks like putting 2 enablers into play followed by a cephalid, so it really has to be a counter spell that stops this. You can really don't have a choice to swords here, because if you end up swordsing uh, the nomads, then I can equip it with Shuko, or if you swords the cephalid, then the nomads can combo over top of it.
Yep, and it looks like we do have the swords coming down. But we do still are, to my knowledge, are still representing a win. Well, 2 cards out of hand. And have exactly double removal. Unless we have a Force Will, which does not look like the Breakfast player is on.
So it looks like the mill will begin.
We are, looks like, to at least 7 cards deep in the graveyard. So, Jason and Nick, I have a good question while we're watching just a little bit. I guess I'll wait for sideboarded games. I do want y'all to think about it while we're watching. What do you think is the strongest card you've seen in MH3 so far? But we'll get to that after this game.
Yeah.
Looks
So
like Catherine is coming in for 5 there. Sorry, I might be a little behind.
And there we see another cephalid.
Cephalid number 2. Let's see if we can get the job done. 2 cards in the 4-color control player's hand. May just be exactly Force Pitch blue card. It
Or
is Force
no
of
blue
Will,
card.
Loam.
And there's the concession.
Basket
Yeah.
with the correct take in chat, pointing out Grief is the strongest card in MH3.
That is the best take.
That is the best take. I
moving
fully
in,
endorse that.
moving into sideboard. Jason, what did you have in mind going into game 2? With your sideboard playing against Cephalid Breakfast?
I think I probably brought in 1, maybe 2 surgicals, maybe a carpet of flowers, probably a red elemental blast to try to counter or kill a Nadu. That's probably about it. What are you
We
thinking,
did.
Nick?
Yep. So I brought in Carpet of Flowers, Fluster Storm, Lavinia, and I think I actually brought in Pick Your Poison as well, just answering the Leyline Binding and Up the Beanstalk is pretty good. So I actually ended up cutting my Force of Wills in this matchup. I decided, even though I'm a combo deck, I don't necessarily need to be. This deck still has Stoneforge wins. It still has Urza Saga wins. I mean, heck, Nadu itself can kind of get the job done at the end of the day. So I think the idea was, well, we'll pivot onto a game plan where we make him respect the combo, but don't necessarily need to use that as the only line to win I have. I really like taking this play as Cephalid Breakfast against control decks, just because they have to respect your combos enough where they bring in sideboard cards for you, and that ends up diluting their fair removal for your fair game plan.
So as we're still waiting for getting game 2, back real quick. Let's hear some fun cards from MH3. What do
Okay.
y'all think?
The best card from MH3?
Oh, like what's your favorite card? I'm not asking for like any I think the best card printed. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like if you had to pick any of the cards that were in the newest set as a pet card.
For me, it's definitely Felia. I really like Felia. I really like White Orchid Phantom. I think those have done a lot for Legacy of and Modern of revitalizing Death and Taxes. I think that deck is actually playable again. Uh, I I also sticking on white cards. Wrath of the Skies, absolutely banger board wipe for Modern. It turns out, but also I think that card is going to see Legacy play as potentially some sideboard tech for a deck such as Death Guy Control.
Yeah, Basket with a couple of good um, comments in chat pointing out the Flare cycle is pretty cool, Flare of Malice, and then the Barrogoyf.
Yeah, those are all pretty cool cards. And
Yeah,
we're do
the flares were a little weak for me personally. It just having to play the creature first, right? Well, now I've spent. It's not like Force Will or the Force of Negation cycle where you can kind of pitch any blue card. It has to be specifically a creature, and you have to spend the mana and the tempo to put it into play first.
Yeah,
I do
I
think they're
think the
cool.
Flares were good for Modern, but yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not quite Legacy playable. But
exactly.
yeah,
I think they're really cool for Modern. I don't think they're going to see Legacy play. I think people are trying Flare of Cultivation and Nick Fit. That's a tier D deck anyway, but I don't think it really is great for Nick Fit just because it slows down your tempo game plan so much of drawing this card in the middle of your turn.
that sounds cool. Night's Watch. He says he's brewing mono green post with sowing Mycospawn.
Now that I like. That I
that
like a lot.
card is busted.
Yeah. So like Mycospawn, that makes a lot of sense in a deck like 12 post, or I guess whatever we're at, 20 post or something like that
Yeah, I
now.
think we're at
But
22 posts or something.
yeah, being able to tutor for your posts, being able to tutor for your gain life seems really good.
So we're kicking off round 2 with a brainstorm.
I'm honestly a little surprised that we haven't seen, at least I haven't seen a lot of Eldrazi stuff floating around, although I know it is, because those seem pretty great.
On the tournament, I know as Nick kindly said that he hasn't been watching, knowing full well I've been eyeing MTGO tournaments and everything else since MH3 has come out.
This is true.
The very strong cards, mono green Eldrazi in Legacy is an actual deck and very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks
The
strong.
the fact that you can just tutor up and you can tutor and exile an opponent's land is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Having access to all the lands that sort of spawned Eldrazi Winter and Modern in Legacy still makes that deck significantly better, obviously. And then the new pickups that it's gotten with these really powerful Eldrazi I mean, they do something on cast, so even if you force the body, congratulations, you've gotten rid of a 3/3, but I'm still getting a land and you're still losing one.
Yeah. Looks like on turn 2, we are on curve with the Beanstalk. We are not afraid of days.
So now we're seeing sort of more classic line here. Stoneforge Mystic getting cast off the Birds of Paradise. Looks like it will resolve. Shuko getting found.
Ponder, Trop
Psychic
Island.
Frog is another MH3 card that is kind of impressed me. I don't think we've shown all of what it can do, but it does seem to be sort of taking Orcish Bowmaster's place, not necessarily the full play set, but to some amount in a lot of these Grixis decks.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement of that. I think a lot of these tempo decks that we're playing, especially such as Delver, playing Bowmaster as their splash. Um, I think Frog is just a little better, but it's not warping as much as Bowmasters.
Honestly, the card that I expected to occupy that spot was going to be Necrogoyf, but I seem to be completely off the mark on that one.
See, so we do have a Teferi coming down from the breakfast player on the side of the battlefield,
Yeah.
knowing this would lock out the 4-color control player. Obviously, they're gonna at least look to see if what they can fetch.
This sort of becomes a use it or lose it situation of requiring action be spent on this. So even if it gets countered, that's still counter spells that are out of the control player's hand for future turns.
One thing been seeing a lot of Magic Online recently. Do like that the 4-color decks are playing or so heavily on fourth Aerolingus. Card is good.
Yeah, that card is, I think, seen a down. Actually, we just seen a downtick of 4-color control recently because of the MH3 cards, and in addition, previously the whole scam grief stuff going on. It looks like Teferi resolves and we'll see a bounce of the beans. So that seems to be done as a tempo play more than anything of saying, well, if you want to get your beans out, you have to spend the mana to redeploy it next turn. So that
Use
to me hints at potentially some fast combo vibes happening here.
you just beanwalk this man. No more time walk. It is now beanwalk.
Joke's on you, I get to draw another card when I cast it.
Doesn't matter if the game's over.
True.
Good point. I thought we were just here to draw cards.
Well, I think Nadu's bit is only drawing cards and ramping, and that's exactly what this breakfast player looks like he's doing.
Yeah, it's funny. Breakfast has always been a tough matchup for me, and I think if I recall, we'll see how this game plays out. But I really don't think Nadu played a factor in either game. It was just the traditional breakfast pieces that ran me over, Nick.
I will agree with you. I do think the addition of green really helped out against you, providing some of the additional mana acceleration here. I mean, we see a birds and a carpet get played here. Bird was a big part of last game as well. Bird of Paradise, that is.
It looks like we are back on the bean. Four-color control player contemplating the Mystic Sanctuary fetch here to stack possibly a Brainstormer, a Ponder on top. Nope.
And we're going to see Domain getting turned online, so that to me would probably mean we're seeing a Leyline binding here, probably on Teferi. Free up some of the counter spells that may be in hand at this point.
It does something, but relative to everything else it's doing, it's so minimal.
It's good against Bowmaster, other than the fact that you've already created a 4-power creature and killed Tom.
And
Oh,
that's
Leyline binding.
exactly what we'll see.
It is now cast on trigger on the stack.
It's very minimal. The real thing that it's
Looks like we are drawing the card.
go up to out of bolt range immediately. That's why it's good.
And Teferi has been binded. Bunch.
Sent to jail.
Straight. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. I know how it feels, man. Do you want to run just another game one? I would feel weird sideboarding against a person who's not sideboarding. We'll just run.
One thing I do like about these control matchups is We get very good spaces, in between talking to look at the battlefield, kind of observe what's happening.
There's a lot of thinking going on in these matchups. It's not
There-
about jamming, it's about knowing when to pull the trigger.
Wait, I'm supposed to be thinking?
Jason had his mind on food this entire night.
Just Ooga Booga Cast Beanstalk. What are we talking about?
He sees all these birds, he just wants chicken.
Bird breakfast.
It looks like that may be a Lauren revealed getting island cycled here.
I think it's being hard cast with the carpet mana.
It is. Oh, you are correct. Holy man, just drew.
Just cast Ancestral Recall.
Yeah. The illusionist is now on the table.
And we'll see an equip happen.
Did we have any time for response on the
On what?
cephalid coming down?
Yeah, it resolved.
Okay, they're quick, very quick. I just didn't know there was much of a pause.
Yeah, I think the control player was planning to answer it with board interaction since it is a Shuko and not a Nomads. That's a thing you can do.
And it looks like the second cephalid is coming down. We're looking for force pitch blue card from the control player or another solitude pitch white card.
Yeah, Nick having backup cephalids both games, pretty tough.
I know double Cephalid in your 80 card deck is not exactly what you're expecting to see back to back like that as the control player.
So now we are seeing a surgical extraction on the stack targeting Thassa's Oracle most likely. And Nick did have the force of will.
With the blue mana floating, I'll brainstorm.
Trigger's good, yeah.
We are effectively down a life.
Can I go? Yeah, you can keep going.
And now we'll kind of go off to the races here, mill out the deck.
Go ahead and finish resolving. If you want to mill your deck, that's fine.
Looks like you two are talking out something.
I think Jason's debating if he should interact or not. And I'll be honest, Jason, I was not thinking about the card that I named off of Cabal Therapy until your body language and the way you paused gave it away.
Yeah, and I knew that, but I didn't really have a way around it, right? Like, I haven't conceded, so there's really no way to bluff what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, I guess it's more of I think there's a better way you could have handled yourself physically, if that makes sense, right? So sort of just saying like, all right, you got me here, and then getting them with it at the end. But
Yeah.
to me, it seemed like, all right, my opponent has sort of mentioned, not told me, but with their body language has told me that they have additional interaction. What could it be?
Yeah.
And so that made me think about, all right, what's potentially else could I see here? And I mean,
Looking at endurance, correct?
the card that is named is endurance, and
Yeah.
yep. And Jason
GG.
concedes there. So, I mean, you had triple interaction for that turn
Yeah,
with
and
a
still
leyline
lost.
binding on a Teferi, and still lost. That's a pretty crazy turn, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, so this will be kind of a bonus match. I believe this was game 3 of Lands versus Delver. We were just kind of putting this on stream, so we'll broadcast this real quick. Let me change the overlay.
Are we do we get to see some Tameo action?
We might.
I think I'm very high on that card in Delver actually right now.
That's another card that's really surprised me out of MH3. It's a card that I personally liked because it fits my play style, but I wasn't expecting the community at large and decks like Delver to start adopting it.
As the resident Delver player, I do think I think it's a weird split that you run in this. I'm very big on replacing Delver of Secrets with Tamio. I think, especially in the teamer versions, you replace it and then you get card advantage off of both Tamio as well as Questing Druid.
Yeah, to me it seems like you'd cut Questing Druid then and go full Izzet.
So the thing about Questing Druid,
I know you're big on Questing Druid, but I don't know,
I am
man.
very high on that card. I think the green splash, especially with Nadu decks running around, I think is very viable because you do get access to such cards as Pick Your Poison, Veil of Summer for your storm matchups. I think green is I'm very high on green only for the reason that you do get so much access to better interaction sometimes against
What's the new
like, at least
Tameo called?
our
I wanna link it in chat.
Tameo. I
Inquisitive
just had it.
Student, I believe.
Yeah, Inquisitive Student. Yeah. But yeah, I think at least in our meta, I think being the little bit greedier splash, the only matchup I really do not favor in as much with the 3-color splash is lands. I think it does make my control matchup better. I think it makes my mirror match better. Just a lot of things that normally you wouldn't see. You get to be able to actually play in the teamer variant, but I do agree that it is a strong argument that we might converge as a whole and back to Delver. Is it Delver due to this new Tameo?
I mean, yeah, if you have a card advantage engine that is in blue-red, why stretch yourself thin? Because that's really always been Delver's big problem is card advantage, right? I mean, that's why Expressive Iteration was banned, is because it was a card advantage engine good enough to go into Delver.
I think the biggest thing. I'm really big on Grixis right now, personally. I like the idea of Psychic Frog over Questing Druid.
Yeah, and
But
I
I
think
also just like the splash.
Psychic Frog is another one of those cards that is a card advantage engine at 2 mana.
Thing is, I don't think I've seen a lot of decks that go Tameo Psychic Frog.
Sure.
little different. No Tameo Psychic Frog, but
So
I got you.
just a
I
quick
got you.
producer's note, real quick. This is a little bonus footage. This is game 3 of Lands versus Is It Delver. So this is post sideboard game 3.
So this is still round 2 of the bi-weekly.
yeah.
So looks like we're seeing a fetch basic mountain. So really respecting the wasteland out of the Delver player. Oh, Jason, move your mouse. Thank you.
Thank you. I do very much respect Taylor for his choice in basics. I think it's actually really great that the one of mountain very nice.
So here we're seeing a strong start from lands. It looks like a Thespian stage and then a Mox Diamond pitching a Caracas, followed by a Exploration, followed by a Wasteland as the second land for turn.
Very strong start for the lands player. And it looks like Wasteland is. Oh, looks. Maybe we've got some going on.
The Delver player doing a really good job of playing around these basics. This is not something that the 3-color Delver variants can do, right? They only have non-basic lands. If there was a Life in the Lobe here, this could be a quick lands lock, actually, against the typical non-Is-It variant. But that's not what we'll see here.
We are seeing a very strong Is-It variant.
Is it or isn't it?
But And they are, yeah, this loam lock
There's
would have
the
been
loam. Yeah.
devastating.
So as you can see, here's really the power of being Izzet against lands like this. Can
Yeah,
you,
especially. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say if it was you or me across the table as the Delver player, it'd be a completely different game right now.
Yeah, I think such cards as, and I think there's certain cards that I could play as a Teamer Delver player that would help in this matchup, but I do think the fact Taylor respecting the Wasteland so heavily is really good here. Um, Especially knowing that the basic mount still gives him access to red.
So it looks like we're really trying to go for Delirium here, firing off an aggressive Chain Lightning. Makes a lot of sense.
There's OG. Is it OG Lightning Bolt? No. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, I was like, I couldn't
Oh,
see it for a
you're
second.
right. This is Lightning Bolt, not a Chain Lightning. My bad.
No, it's all good. We're here to look at cards, figure out what people are doing with them. Another loan. Oh, that's the same loan. My bad.
Oh yeah, I know for a fact that Taylor has a Price of Progress in his sideboard. 3 basics out of Delver is not something you see every day.
Yeah. I know whenever I was on the Izzet plan, I was very seldom on the
Wow.
more than 2 lands.
Wow. Oh my god. Wow, this
Oh,
is a
that's a
powerful play.
blowout.
So we see the Merit Lage not get made on the land's player turn. There should be counters on that Dark Depths. So instead, playing a Wasteland, which prevents the land's player from being able to make a 20/20 here, and then casting a Blood Moon. That's a lot of lands hate immediately. So without that Wasteland, a 20/20 could be made here in response. So really needed all of this here to stave off this aggressive start from lands.
This is a really good play from the Delver player. Very strong, very thought through play.
Yeah, I think the lands player is looking at this, and there is a crop rotation in hand. I don't doesn't look like they have access to green mana though. We will see an endurance get pitch cast. Potentially, yeah, this was a really good start from lands, and I think Delver might have exactly what they need to stop it.
The Surveil trigger is back on the stack. We are resolving it, going into the resolution of Blood Moon.
A lands player can't believe what's happening to them right now.
Yeah, I think I've kind of conditioned, sadly, towards not playing as many Blood Moon effects because I'm currently, as Nick has stated, I am on the 3-color variant and I am the Prime Delver player.
And
Not that any other Delver player is less, but
this is one of those interesting questions of, do you make Dark Depths on your turn or your opponent's turn? A lot of lands players will make it on their turn against the Wasteland decks, but there's obviously a lot of interaction that you don't get hit by if you make it at the end of your opponent's turn. Unfortunately, it looks like that decision is not working in Ryan's favor this time.
meltdown for 1. That's
Meltdown for X
crazy.
equals 0.
Or
Wow,
X
taking
equals
all
0.
of it, and we see the
Jeez.
concession right there. No colored mana left. That's
Oh,
brutal.
I
Oh,
guess not the concession. See what's happening.
I think this was a concession. I think I was just wondering why he didn't make a Merit Lage in response to the Blood Moon, but he was demonstrating that he had 1 mana short of being able to force the action of Wasteland on the Wasteland and then make a 20/20. So just short of being able to do that play.
Yeah, good game. Super close. Like you said, Ryan was almost there, just one mana short of being able to make the Merit Lage in response. But as you pointed out, the sequencing there from Taylor and having those exact cards was just enough to turn that game around. All right, good game.
It does look like Taylor and Nick going into round 3. I think
I did.
let's see,
I
they're
thought
even odding.
sorry, even. Take the play.
Meanwhile, after this game, I will be updating my Delver. After this stream, I will be updating my Delver list.
And we'll see a Tundra followed by Nomads in Core to start us off.
And another strong play coming out from the Delver player as well, going into Volcanic Darcy. Both turn 1 dudes. I think the Delver player is on a little bit better of a dude unless the Breakfast player has exactly land Cephalid Illusionist.
And we'll see a Brainstorm get cast here.
So is the so Nick, do you typically in this type of situation, Delver players at 5 cards based on odds, do you ever feel like there's a good chance to go for it in this situation?
It depends on who you ask. Typically, I don't feel comfortable going for it in this situation unless I have the interaction, but it would really have to be double force will. Just being able to play or playing into days really isn't where you want to be. So typically, I like to have a slower game plan here. There are 4 Swords to Plowshares in the main deck, especially with Nadu now. There's no reason to not sort of slow your roll. And here we do see a daze get cast on a Shuko.
Seems pretty good. Oh, there we go. That's the tech right there. I think it was
So
Sink into Stupor.
yep, Sink into Stupor, one of the new flip lands from Modern Horizons 3.
Ooh. Yeah.
As you can see me looking over like, what is that card? Oh, that's what it is.
That's the tech. I like that. I actually really like that.
So Nick, you cast a Stoneforge and grabbed Cauldron Complete.
Yeah, that looks like it. So putting the Delver player to the test, saying, well, kill this guy. The card revealed off of Urza's Bobble was Nadu.
Caca!
Sorry, I'm here. I'm so trying to figure it out. Need some Delver stuff.
And we will see a lightning bolt go ahead and get cast, followed by a force actually to protect it.
So Taylor trying to get rid of the nomads in core, but you did protect it.
And now I've got the Cauldron Complete coming down, which
Or the
notably
Stoneforge, rather.
notably very hard card to remove for Delver.
Indeed, they typically only have one or two main deck answers to it, and we can see the Sink through the Stupor in the yard, so potentially I would expect only a one of Brazen Borrow or something like that to be able to deal with Cauldron from this point. And there we do see, in fact, a one of mainboard Brazen Borrow to deal with that Germ token.
You manifested it.
So pretty good stuff. Throwing Tamio into the bin.
Another new MH3 card that Taylor was trying out, Tamio.
That's a pretty good last card to have.
Looks like Nadu resolves.
Looks like we're gonna get activations going here.
Tons of them. Look at them stacking up.
So one land and a bunch of gas in hand, including Force Blue card, and that is the game. Yeah, just you know your opponent's going to draw at least another 6 cards on your turn, and it's Force Blue card in hand. It's pretty much over at that point. So going into sideboard matches, I know that Taylor has been experimenting with 4 red blasts, so I expect to see all of those brought in here. Probably also, I would expect Price of Progress, and I'm not sure what other interaction they might have.
I don't think Counterbalance is very good in this matchup. What do you think, Nick?
It might not be. You don't have a lot of 3s. I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
So I'm really big on. I actually think Counterbalance is actually really big in this matchup.
Actually, doesn't Taylor run Counterbalance in the main?
I am the one that runs Counterbalance in the main. He showed me that tech.
Okay, so you
And
both
he's
are
I think
Counterbalance.
I think he's off of it though.
Okay, fair enough.
I could be wrong. I think I have access to his not access, but I know his
His
Fox build.
list. Yeah.
I can find it. He's currently on. He is not on a He is not on a Counterbalance in the main. He's on a Tamio.
Okay.
Tamio. We're still playing that good old tempo plan with Delver, Darcy, Murktide Regent.
I believe he was on more Tamios at this tournament. I believe it was something that he was trying out, so I think he was on 3 actually. I think he cut Delver completely from the deck.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people seem to be doing. I don't fully agree with the full Delver cut. However, I think that the 0-3 body is a good blocker until you.
I mean, it's a card
it.
advantage engine, right?
Yeah.
It creates treasures, which is cool, but just that tempo disadvantage of not swinging for 3 on turn 3 seems kind of like a big deal to me. Oftentimes games are win or lost by either the thinnest of margins of the pressure that you're able to exert on your opponent. And Tomio turning this more into a control deck can for sure exert pressure in a different way of alting Tomio to win the game, but that's difficult to do in a lot of matchups.
Yeah, I think Tamio brings like a sort of trying to think of the word. Tamio brings like a weird value to the deck. I do agree. It kind of does point you towards more of a control variant style list versus game versus games. You're very big on trying to win through it's more of a control list versus trying to tempo out your opponents, which we might see more control variants pop up now that Nadu is in the format, being able to remove the Nadu and
Maybe just accepting,
card
okay, I can't
advantage.
outrace this card. I have to deal with it first and then try to win the game. So we
Also
see
viable.
a bobble targeting self shuffle, and then we see an island ponder from the combo player.
Both very strong starts for both players. Basic island ponder. That's even better.
So respecting the existence of Wasteland.
Recruiter of the guard, you're like fishing out your one of extraction specialist.
Gotta get them.
They're all white. Where is it?
Where? They're all the same color. What
They're
have I
all the
done?
same. They're just little dinky humans. What do they do?
They're all dumb. Alright. So ponder. Hopefully shuffle, because that would be fun.
Nick shuffling that 80 card deck.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it
yeah.
is a lot of cards. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not super big on shuffling 80 cards in 60 card formats.
Oh, I'm used to shuffling a double sleeved commander deck, so I'll be fine.
No dexterity issues here.
It's also the only way he beats lands. It's literally the only thing.
Go ahead.
Everything else,
What is?
fourth.
So I do see a carpet flyers coming down from the breakfast player. There is a Force Will pitching Sing into the stupor being tested. And then we see, I want to say that's a Soul Guide Lantern.
I'll take out the bubble.
It is a Soul Guide Lantern,
Go ahead.
so potentially being able to keep the Delver player off of casting Murktide and off of Delirium for Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's actually a main deck Soul Guide Lantern. I did not cut it in the post-board games, though. And here we will see an MH3 card, Disruptor Flute. Really powerful. Name's Nadu. And a Stoneforge Mystic hits the battlefield.
Looks like grabbing Cauldron. No, grabbing Shuko. We are ready to remove this Disruptor Flute. Bolt. Yeah. Unfortunate.
That's the power of Stoneforge Mystic, is even if you don't grab Cauldra, sometimes your opponent doesn't know that you didn't grab Cauldra, or doesn't know that you don't have Cauldra in hand, right? So they still have to respect the ability for you to put in an indestructible 5/5.
See what we got here going on. It's like a pre-war formal wear.
Pre-war formal wear, ladies and gentlemen.
Tech. The tech.
Trigger target Stoneforge Mystic.
So it does resolve and return Stoneforge Mystic to play. And that's a 3/4 now, so it can't even get killed with Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
I love pre-war formal wear. I think that card is great. It isn't on Magic Online since it's from the, I believe it's from
Fallout.
the Fallout series set. And here we'll see that Brazen Borrower bouncing the Stoneforge. Joke here is I tutored for the Swiftfoot boots, or not, sorry, not the Swiftfoot boots, the Lava Spur boots, joking that pretty much guarantees that Caldera is in hand if that's the tutor here. Swiftfoot boots is really more to be grabbed off of Urza's Saga and make some hasty constructs.
Lava Spur?
Lava Spur. God, thank you. Yes, I keep saying the wrong boots. Yeah.
Like that's like I'm telling you, we make two halves of a whole judge.
Together.
I would also like to commend Taylor for having his on adventure token.
He did not. I had that, but
yeah.
Wow.
Nick had to provide an on an adventure token for Taylor.
I have one in my box for just such a
Austin, is
grievous
that enough to offset
circumstance.
his illegal fetching from earlier?
I don't think
Um,
so. I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. The double legal fetch, and we might not have noticed a single illegal fetch yet, but maybe in this game we'll see another one.
Right to jail, as far as I'm concerned.
Straight to jail.
We do see a Nomads come down with a Shuko. And some booties.
So a lot of equipment in play.
Urza Saga seems real good here.
Going ahead and popping the Slugeyed Lantern, trying to keep the opponent off of a potential Murktide Regent.
And it looks like the Delver player just ships it straight back.
And here we see Carpet of Flowers. That might flip the game. Does deserve a
Yeah.
force. Well, pitching Murktide Regent, so that Soulguide Lantern did something.
Delver player looks like he is down to one card in hand. Very hard place to be, knowing that spot all too well.
Nomad's getting in there.
Nomad's the 3-1 beater.
Brazen Bar is now off of the adventure. They're back.
Here we see a Brainstorm. And some combat damage coming in finally.
So we're swinging. We got a Wasteland targeting, looks like Savannah here.
Yep.
You have to forgive me. I am a modern player looking at duels.
That doesn't deal 2 damage when it comes in. What?
Exactly. 3 more.
So it looks like and we got a Torpor Orb, so lots of stacks pieces, just sort of these players swinging back and forth with 3-1s, it seems like.
The difference is the other 3-1 the Nomads is warded by 1.
The Nomads is warded by 1, but Nomads doesn't have flying, and the Brazen Borrow can't block non-flying creatures, so they're kind of ships in the night. Just well, if we can't block each other, might as well swing at each other.
Nick has cracked the Flooded Strand. Let's see what he grabs. All right, Tundra, respectable Tundra. No basic here. No basic swamp.
There we see a Stoneforge Mystic, demonstrating that it cannot tutor, and I think I said, yeah, I was just reorganizing my deck here. I wasn't actually gonna even tutor. So I think I've made it clear that there is a Cauldron in hand at this point.
You forgot the best part though. You can tutor Cryptic Code.
Except I cannot because there is a Torpor Orb in play.
Oh, you cannot.
There's also not a
Womp
Cryptic Code
womp.
in this build.
Womp womp womp.
Womp womp.
We are down to very few cards in hand for Delver.
We see a Murktide get played.
1 card in hand backup.
So making a 5/5.
Torpor Orb. Let me read that card real quick.
And Stoneforge will get activated, putting Cauldron into play. Notably, not a creature, so is not affected by Torpor Orb.
I would like to know Murktide Regent is affected by it.
It is not.
Is it not? There's no way. It says enters the battlefield with.
Um, So it's the width. It doesn't put a trigger on the stack.
We go
So
this gatherer.
Warp Orb does not affect clone effects.
Take 5, yeah. Surgical target, darkness.
Yeah, I can see. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And so now we'll see a cool play of swinging with both creatures. Murktide Regent will block the Nomad's Inkor, and the Nomads will use its alternate, its fair ability of redirecting all damage to the Cauldron. So
That's
it
pretty fair.
will not die here. That's the actual intended reason of its ability, by the way, team.
Waste Tundra.
Oh,
9, huh?
one card in hand at 3 life. Nick, do you have the bolt?
It looks Taylor. I think Taylor has to have the bolt here. He's 1 damage short otherwise,
Oh,
and passes the turn. I think I point out, are you sure you don't want to swing with this guy? He can't block anyway. And then Taylor sort of reevaluates the math and says, well, it's not a blocker, so might as well get in.
Yes.
You basically, I think you're outright bolt.
Again, these are casual games, not something I would have done.
Drew the wave.
Shows that he is the Pyroblast that didn't do anything, and this is the
There's only
concession here.
Stoneforge, and I can't block.
reach out for the handshake. Let's see it. Let's see it.
So I think Taylor did a really good job of maneuvering around this game. As you can see, there's a lot of dead cards in my hand, some green cards, a Nadu, Flusterstorm. So the Taylor Stacks pieces did end up doing a lot of work there. It's just Stoneforge as a backup plan ended up getting across the finish line. And this is sort of what I'm talking about of, well, the control decks have to bring in all of their combo interaction against you. So why not just play more fair? And if we get the combo off, we get the combo off. But if not, that's not the game we have to play.
I totally agree with you there. I think as the Delver player, you have to be so respectful right now of combos and the importance of having your opponent having a lot of the interactive pieces they do, such as like especially with Nadu, you're basically fighting an uphill battle as soon as that card resolves. If it hits the field, you are backpedaling very hard.
All right, well,
Right.
that's going to wrap it up. That was round 3 of our Legacy FNM. Nick takes it down with Fruit Loops, aka Nadu Cephalid Breakfast with Yorion. Thanks to everybody that came out. Thanks for everybody for watching. And Nick, Austin, thank you for your commentary. Let's go raid our friends at Boardwalk Legacy.
Sounds good. Thanks for
Sounds
having
good. Thanks
us.
for having us.
Always happy to help host.
All right, bear with me just a minute, and I'll go raid them.
She said we got a raid.
Oh, I don't see him online for some reason, so instead we will raid XJ Cloud, who's playing some Legacy Moon Stompy.
Ooh.
All right, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Peace, everyone.